Non-Americans, what do you think of Bernie Sanders? I don't really follow politics, but the Bernie campaigners on campus the other day seemed nice enough. On my Canadian campus. Is that not weird? I can only imagine that was a waste of time. I had a friend who goes to college in Canada right now, probably trying to reach people like her. Kinda bizarre though. Americans are not known for being good at geography. As a Canadian, I think he is once again asking for my financial support. Those Reddit ads are something else. As a Brit, I think that he thinks cats should be able to have a little salami, as a treat. Australia here, what I know is that he's been against every war since before it was popular to hate them. Been fighting against income inequality for his entire career, been calling for the changes in his campaign since the 70s, protested for civil rights in the marches while Biden was yelling to preserve segregation, spent his first week as mayor of Burlington, Vermont picking up trash in the parks, and that if he wins healthcare in the US will be better than here in edit formatting. Coming from an American with a daughter with congenital heart defects, one can only fucking hope. This is the main thing for me. His actual ideas and policies aside, the dude legit believes in the stuff he's saying, and his history and actions bear that out. He's a real one, and I've got a lot of respect for that. Russian here. He sounds neat and looks like a kind grandpa. He also seems like the kind of grandpa to play Just Dance with his grandchildren. Tomorrow's headline on Fox News: Internet reveals Bernie Sanders has Russian backing, or is Bernie a Russian agent? Anyone not aware, Fox is a conservative entertainment company that has shows about the news. They love the current president. I'm Canadian, and my general feeling towards him is utter disbelief that the most progressive person in America is somehow a 90-year-old Jewish man from Vermont. This is the best. He's actually from Flatbush, Brooklyn. But his political career is VT. Aussie here. What a bloody legend, mate. This should be his campaign slogan. Yeah, except true Australians don't really care. Fuck, we vote for a prime minister and 6 months later the party decides to kick him out anyway, man shrugging. It's like they took a normal center-left politician and dropped him in the clusterfuck of American politics, and somehow he is doing well. I love how he is center-left in Europe, but far-left in America. People are tired of the clusterfuck of American politics. Speaking as a Norwegian with no interest in American politics, the general image I have just from the cultural osmosis of being exposed to the internet is old activist man who wants the US to have what Scandinavian countries already have, but who probably won't win. No idea if this is correct or not. I would say accurate. Norway does not have a system similar to what Bernie is proposing. Not bashing either, just clarifying. Bernie's main focus is on domestic US issues, which are hard to translate to the Australian political landscape because we just don't have any analogues here to a lot of the things that Bernie spends most of his time campaigning on. We have a healthy minimum wage and universal health care here, for instance. That said, his stances on most of these issues would align with the broad political establishment consensus here. So I'd call him a fairly mainstream centrist by Australian standards, leaning centre-left if only for his support of workers at the expense of the owner class. He'd be right at home in our Labour Party. It's completely insane to me that 99.9% of his time and energy is caught up in endlessly fighting for basic stuff that literally the whole rest of the world takes for granted, and in doing so he somehow seems to be regarded in the US as some kind of fringe left socialist radical. Insane. As an American, it is insane. I love your perspective. Carrot this. Irish person here. I'm really into politics, specifically American politics, and from an outsider looking in, all the politicians look and act like a subhuman breed of reptiles with no care of empathy towards the general public. I'm no socialist, but Bernie seems genuine and like an overall nice guy who actually cares about the citizens of the US, who are having quite a hard time from what I can tell. Your username. How do you know this? Just asking. Bernie is the only one that doesn't seem like a total fake to me, an American. From an Australian perspective, Sanders advocates policies that I believe America really needs. Most of them are commonplace here, where even our right-wing, conservative parties defend those policies and institutions. I mean, the conservatives would cut those institutions the second they are given the chance and the right political environment. The party's think tank, the EPA, has been calling for it for decades. This is it. I am European who is centre/right oriented, but it is because even right-wingers here wouldn't dream of making health system or educational system a clusterfuck similar to the US. I think he is the one who feels passionately about change and helping people. If the change is good or not but he is the only one I find real. Yeah, unless he's the greatest conman in history, he is passionate about it and he does want to help people. Problem is too many people don't believe his methods will work, and he's never going to win a popularity contest, therefore he'll never get elected. We Americans don't vote with our brains. I like Sanders quite a lot as someone from the UK. His focus on universal healthcare seems sensible to me, as it seems like such an obvious right in this country. I like his focus on wealth inequality. I'm not a need the rich type socialist, but here in the UK wealth inequality has always been a big deal, and the idea of sharing that pie around a bit more is a good one, especially as more general automation is fast approaching. I also would prefer Sanders or Warren as the president for purely selfish purposes. The UK needs a US trade agreement after Brexit, and a president who is harsher on corporations will limit US corporate interests' ability to take hold of the UK market unfairly. I doubt Biden would be sympathetic to the need to keep drug exports to the UK low in cost, for example. I also quite like Yang for bringing discussion of UB to a viral stage, and think he's performed remarkably well at shaping discussion as one of those candidates who were always going to lose. This was asked 4 years ago and he still looks like the only sane normal politician you have running for office. Edit am Swede. Canadian. I think he's great and would get my vote. Speaking as a Canadian, he's talking about a lot of stuff that you as a country should either be talking about or should have done years, or decades, ago: Medicare for all, reining in corporations, relieving debt, etc. I like him. I'd rather see him in office than Trump. But I'd rather see a half-boiled potato in office over Trump. Isn't there a town in the US with a dog as major? Just brainstorming here. Give him some credit, fully baked potato at least. Netherlands, sounds like a guy your country really needs. The ideas he is proposing work over here. New Zealand here, the stuff Sanders talks about is largely already in play here and is total common sense for the voter base. Any party trying to get in on a ticket of peer-to-peer healthcare, education and no gun control wouldn't get close to crossing the 5%. He'd be seen as a center-left politician here. The vast majority of what he speaks about is what both of the major parties, National and Labour, have as principal policies. I would say like 95% of all problems in American politics exist because of corporate corruption, the failure to separate church and state, and mass ignorance. I think he is a politician who genuinely intends to help the very people who have been brainwashed to fear him. If people voted in their best interest, about 60% of Republicans would vote Democrat. The problem is that people look at their ideals, not their reality, when they vote. You guys fucked up in choosing Clinton over him. Clinton chose Clinton over him. I'm American, and lots of us don't disagree. All I know is that he is once again asking for my financial support. I know you jest, but I love it that he's depending on individual donations instead of corporate money to fund his campaign. It ensures he won't be the lapdog of corporate interests. If you want to see America become one of the good guys, go ahead and toss him a coin for us, please. It took so long to actually have a politician that is not funded by corporate America. That's what I like about him. He's definitely the best Democratic candidate. And he is the only person out of the Democratic candidates that didn't vote for Trump's proposal for extra military spending. I think the American military is way too big. I always like how Republicans get riled up over the notion of free health care, but not over military spending. They're both socialist constructs. Be more like Ron Swanson. If you're going to hate thoroughly. Subscribe for more hot Reddit takes in your inbox, guaranteed.